Okay, hi team. Welcome to the team call for September 21st. I can't believe it's September 21st. Every time I do a team call, I'm like, how are we getting that much closer to the end of the year? We are inching closer to the end of the year. And today I'm so thankful to have Carl here add value to us tonight and share his heart, his story. I don't even know what he's going to talk on, but I'm ready to listen. Oh, actually, I scratched that. I'm not ready to listen because I don't have anything to write with. I always say,
Oh no!
I'm grabbing it right now. Shalene Johnson, my favorite girl, she always says smart people take notes. So since I'm not going to be the one leading today, I'm going to be the one taking notes. So grab your pen and paper, and Carl, it's all yours.
Okay, great. My goodness, I've been thinking and considering what I'm going to be talking about for almost a week now, and it's changed about 5 different times. So, and it changed today. So, um, I've been thinking a lot about the people that we, as coaches, about the people that we are trying to reach, and one of the things I've realized in the year that I've been a coach is that I've been sort of, for the most part, I've been just sort of throwing mud up against the wall, and just trying to get it to stick. And I really haven't until probably the last month or so really tried to focus in on trying to figure out who are the people that I am going to be most effective reaching. Who's my tribe? And one of the questions that I've had to ask myself in the midst of trying to figure out who my tribe is if I'm going to know who my tribe is, I've got to understand inherently who I am. And that's one thing I just, really think that each of us as coaches, and not just as coaches, as people, we need to consider truly, who am I? Who am I? And when we think about who am I, one of the things that first comes to mind for me is what are the different talents that I have been given? I believe, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to hesitate. I mean, I know that not everybody that is part of our team is a Christian, but that's who I am. Okay. I am a believer in Christ, and I'm not, and that's something that I actually have had a couple coaches tell me that, that if I put myself out there as far as what my beliefs are, that it's going to limit the people that I'm going to be able to reach. And so for a while I sort of didn't really put my beliefs out there so much, because I felt like that would probably limit me. But the more I've been thinking about it, and the more I've been considering, I have to understand. I think we all have to understand that we cannot deny who we are, because people are going to see through us. I mean, I know that I am a very transparent person, um, and I know for much of my life that I tried to be something that I wasn't. I tried to be a person that I wasn't. I would, because of my own low self-esteem, um, because of some of the different experiences I had in my life, I didn't really believe that I could do things. I didn't believe that I had it within me. I didn't believe that I could impact or influence people. And so what I did to compensate with that is I tried to find people who I highly respected, and I would try to emulate them. Um, as a pastor, many of my messages when I was early on in ministry were pretty much copied off of people that I respected, you know, um, who meant a lot to me. And then, and what I found interesting is when I started in this journey as a coach, I found myself getting stuck in doing the exact same thing. I would look at people like Tara, and I would say, okay, Tara's doing this, so maybe I need to be doing things exactly like Tara. Okay, and then in the same respect, I started doing that with you, Ashley. I highly respected you from the start, and so I started looking at what you were doing, and I would try to do things the way you did it. And I would get limited success, but not complete success. And what I realized in the midst is I'm not being myself. I'm not being the person that God created me to be. And I actually was talking with my wife about this a few months back, and she reminded me. She had said, "Carl, remember when we had this talk? It was probably about 4 years ago, and I was just for the first time in about 15 years, I was starting to preach on a regular basis on Sunday mornings again. And again, I was doing the same kind of things that I used to do. I started trying to find the perfect message, and I would spend a lot of time working on the message and writing out the perfect words and everything. And she said, Carl, you are at your best and you are most effective when you're just yourself, when you just share from your heart. Said, she said, you don't need to have the perfect words. You don't need to have the perfect 3-point sermon. You just need to speak from your heart, and people are going to relate to you and they're going to get it. And then I started thinking about that from the standpoint of this business. I need to just be myself. I need to just let it all hang out and share from my heart. And when I do that, the people that I relate to are going to just be drawn to me. And one of the amazing things, and one of the amazing experiences I had back in July at Summit, and I know that I've shared this with a few people. I don't know if I've shared this with any of you that are on this Zoom call. Was I was overwhelmed beyond measure at Summit, because I had all of these people, all of these coaches that I've been interacting with, and they've been following my story, and I've been following their stories for the past year. And all of these, I had all of these people coming up to me, telling how much they appreciated me, telling me how much I mean to them. And even now, when I'm sharing that, I mean, tears come to my eyes, because that meant so much to me, because it reaffirmed to me something again, that I am a person of value. And even though I'm not going to relate to everybody, there are people out there that are going to relate to my story, that are going to relate to who I am. And so I need to find those people, and how I need to find those people is, first of all, just coming to grips with who Carl Nicklas is. And what I'm finding for me is that I am a spontaneous, transparent, vulnerable person who cares about people, who wants to help people in every part of their life, not just their physical transformation, but also their emotional, mental transformation, as well as their spiritual transformation. And I'm one that has been shaped by my experiences. And I went through a lot of trauma as a child, as a result of growing up in the home of abuse, and then of being the product of parents who divorced. And because of that, I carried a lot of hurts into my adult life, and a lot of insecurities into my adult life, and it led me down the road of addiction. And so I that's part of my story, and part of who I am is becoming a person of great strength in many areas, because I have faced my pain, I have faced the fears in my life head on, and I've been willing to do whatever it takes to overcome them. So that's the type of person that I know is part of my tribe. People that have been hurt, people that have baggage in their lives, not just physical baggage, but emotional baggage, spiritual baggage, people that oftentimes in life did not fit in. and I know that that's the type of person that I need to reach. That's my tribe, because that's who I am. But it was interesting because I was listening to a podcast by Josh Coates, and I'm currently in his training for the art of recruiting. And one of the things one of the one I was sharing, he was sharing today was specifically about Facebook ads and what, and how to do the most effective Facebook ads. And one of the things he was centering on the audience and talking about your tribe. And he said, and he made a point. He was making this point about his tribe, but it resonated strong with me because he said, there are a lot of people out there that I relate to that are part of my tribe. He says, and there's a lot of people that want what I have to give, but they're not willing to do the work. And he said that's one of the things that I had to realize when I was forming my tribe, was that I had to center in on people that were already starting to do the process. He says one of the key elements I'm looking for is coaches that are already involved in personal development, that are already trying to do things to make themselves better. And I realized, oh my gosh, that fits exactly with me too as a coach. My tribe, because I have been able to bring a lot of people along. I have been able to sign up a lot of coaches, a lot of discount coaches. I've been able to sign up a lot of customers, but the problem I've had is getting people to stick. I've had people that signed up for challenge packs, and then within 2 or 3 months they're gone. And I kept, and I've been trying to ask myself, why is this becoming, is this a pattern? No, I know that, in the midst that we're always going to have people that are going to drop off the books. There's nothing you can do about that. There's a lot of people out there. They're always going to start fast, but then not stick with it. But at the same time, if I want to grow this business, I need to realize that the type of person I want, the person that's part of my tribe, is not just someone that's like me, as far as someone that's broken and hurt and been through so much pain in their life, but also somebody that is willing to do whatever it takes, somebody that is willing to do the work to work through that pain, and is not afraid to seek help in the midst. And so that's what I realize now is an important element in all of this, is that there are a lot of people out there that want help, but there's also a lot of people that aren't willing to do whatever it takes. They aren't willing to do the work. And as a pastor and as a counselor, I experienced, that was a reality. Again, I'm trying to put into practice now in my coaching business what I had already learned from my previous from my current other positions. You can't, what we have to offer works. And using a line from recovery, we often, at the end of our recovery meetings, we often say, if how do we put that? Now my mind's got a blank now. It works. How do we put it? It works if you work it. So work it because you're worth it. And it works if you work it. Okay, so that's what we, again, that's a message that I need to start putting out, not just, to the people that I'm recruiting, but also even in my challenge groups. I need to be able to share. I need to be more willing to share some tough love and make sure people know, hey, you know what we have to offer is fantastic. It works, but it's not a magic formula. It's not, we're not just going to wave a magic wand and all of a sudden you're going to drink your Shakeology and you're going to do a couple workouts and you're going to have a miraculous transformation. No, it doesn't work like that. It's everything we offer is wonderful, but you have, if you're going to transform, If you're going to have the amazing transformation, you have to be consistent. You have to do your workouts 6 out of 7 days a week. You have to drink your Shakeology every day of the week. You have to work the program with everything you've got. I didn't lose 110 pounds overnight, and I didn't, and if I'm going to keep it off and continue this process, I have to continue to stay consistent. And if that's who I am, and that's what I have to be willing to put out to the people that I'm recruiting. And that's the type of person I need to recruit, someone that's willing to do the same things that I was willing to do. So that's really what I wanted to share tonight, is that we, if you're going to find your ideal customer or your ideal coach, you need to have a clear understanding of who you are. And one thing that I think is important to recognize too, is that sometimes as coaches, we go through experiences in life as coaches. We go through personal things in life as coaches that you can't discount the fact that the pain that you have in life, painful experience you go through, first of all, it's going to change you. It's going to change the way you look at life. It's going to change the way you interact with people. It's going to make you even a stronger person in the midst. But what that also does is it may change the type of person that you're going to influence. Your tribe, which might have been your tribe 3 years ago or 2 years ago or whatever, might be different now than it was because of what experiences that you've gone through. And that's something I'm looking at too, because even in the short year that I've been a coach, there has been some things in my life that have changed. And I'm realizing now that even the person that I am sitting here tonight is different than the person I was a year ago, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually too. So, I mean, we all are growing, we're all evolving. So our niche market is always going to be evolving and changing too. And we need to be ready to embrace that in the midst. That's part of the learning process. That's part of the personal, and it makes sense, because as we transform ourselves physically and as we go through personal development and are transforming, our minds and our spirits in the midst, that's going to change how we, who we are. It's going to change how we interact with the world. And that's all ultimately going to change the type of people that we're going to impact. So that's my story. That's my lesson. I hope, I really want to hear from you guys, what your thoughts are and what,
I can't see you. I have thoughts, unless anybody else has thoughts first. I actually took a lot of notes, Carl. That was really good, especially that last part. So I'll talk about that last. But I loved when you talked about where you really had to focus on who is your tribe. And I like how you asked that question, who am I? Because I also think when you find out who your tribe is, you also find out who your tribe isn't. So
Yep.
You can let go of the people that you may have spent energy trying to help before. Not that they couldn't use your help, but you have to focus your energy on the people who connect with you the most. Because if you're trying to help everybody, you're going to only help a handful of people very well, and you're just going to spread yourself too thin. Case in point, I might have told this story before, but when we were at Summit, we were in an Uber car with me and a few other coaches, and I always get tasked to sit in the front seat, apparently because I'm friendly and I talk to the Uber drivers. And I was talking to this like big muscly dude that he was talking about how he was interested in what all these coaches were doing here. He said he liked to train people for fitness competitions, and he was like interested in like the business model. However, I could have talked to him. I could have exchanged phone numbers. I could have tried to help him, and maybe he would have signed up as a coach, but I would have done him a disservice because he's not my people and I'm not his people. and he would be left with unmet expectations and vice versa. So I think there's a lot of freedom that comes in finding out who your people are and realizing that your tribe, while it's a narrowed amount of people, there are still plenty of people in that narrowed tribe to help. So when you narrow it down to who you're looking for, you're not narrowing it down and you're going to run out of people. There's plenty of people who are just like you, and it's okay to let some people go by, even if you're losing out on a coach or Success Club points or whatever, because you have to realize that, and this also goes not necessarily with the tribe thing. I don't want to get all preachy here, but when you're signing people up as a coach, especially, you have to get along with them because you're going to be working with them. You're going to be their mentor, and you have to be able to have a somewhat professional, personal relationship with them. And if you're having some self-doubt or you're having this inclination that maybe they're not the right person for your team, don't let the idea of I need to sell a challenge pack and get Success Club points and sign up a coach so I can hold rank pull you there, when in reality, then you have somebody who's on your team that you now have to work with, and it might not be a good fit. Okay, and I love this quote. I wrote this down. You are at your best and you are most effective when you're you. That's so true. It's you don't want to be the backup band or what? No, it was the cover band. That's what Josh said. You don't want to be the cover band because nobody really wants to seek out seeing the cover band if they have the opportunity to see the real band. So it's finding that voice. And then, of course, I think the thing that I love the most that you said was the thing that you said, your tribe might change as your coaching journey changes and your life experience changes. Your focus, and that really hit me. It actually brought tears to my eyes because I'm thinking, okay, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm in that season where my focus is a little bit different and the people that I'm going to reach are a little bit different because my story's different and your story's going to change. So I think that we have to be willing to be okay with changing up what we're working with and really having that inner reflection to know how we're changing so we can change our focus. So that's all I'll say. I'll let somebody else talk. But I loved it, Carl. That was amazing. Go ahead, Valerie.
And I just love that, Carl. And I watched your live on Who Am I, and I really related to that. And I did at the end. I wrote down, how am I different than the person I was a year ago? And I hadn't really thought about it until now. But I'm a completely different person than what I was a year ago. A year ago, I was a full-time coach, struggling to figure out who my tribe is. I wasn't working in any other capacity, and it was before we got pregnant and had our miscarriage. Now we're coming up on, it would be a year ago, October 5th, where we conceived a baby. We're now in our first month of trying again. I now work full time. And I think I connect with you, and I think that we work so well together and we have such a good chemistry because I've kind of felt like, and definitely no offense to Ashley and the team that you've built and everything, but I'm not a mom and I'm not into this girl vibe tribe thing. That's just not who I am. I started this because I have a husband that needed to lose weight. I had a dad that needed to lose 80 pounds. I have a brother-in-law who is 450 pounds. I have an uncle who's overweight. All the men in my life need help, and that's kind of that's why I started this. And I feel connected to helping not just women. And I've always had a hard time relating to women. I've always kind of hung around the guys and did the whole. I mean, you love football, but did the whole like football guy thing, and I don't connect with women very well. And I feel like I don't do well in this business, and I'm trying to connect with a mom, and I'm not a mom. And so now I have had to shift my focus and want to focus more on maybe, full-time working women or couples, we're doing this together. He's seen amazing results. He totally maxed out on his push-ups and sit-ups. Today he was trying to do his PT test and he couldn't do the run portion because of the winds here, but that's we're kind of doing this together, and I think that's where our focus needs to lie. I think that's where my focus needs to lie as military couples. So that's always been a struggle for me, is finding my tribe, and now my struggle is kind of finding the time to do this while working full time. But thanks, Carl, for this message, because it definitely I definitely, and I listened to the National Wake Up Call. I listened to the replay yesterday, and just her showing how she does her posts and nuggets throughout the day, because she works full-time too. And you can do this while working full-time. There's this balance, because you don't want to just totally exhaust yourself and then have nothing left to give to your husband at the end of the day. But just making use of your time, not catch yourself mindlessly scrolling through Facebook when you could be doing something way more productive than that. And then getting in your workout. Over the past few weeks, I've really struggled. I'll skip my workouts, and then it'll be this time of night, and I still haven't done my workout yet. So I'm trying to make it a point, because I feel so much better when I do my workouts. And if you're not doing it, how are you supposed to expect anybody else to do it? So thanks, Carl. I'm definitely going to look into the Josh Coates thing, because I feel like that would be good for me right now at this point to get more involved with that. But I really appreciated your message tonight, and I always get so much from you. And I consider you just a wonderful mentor, and I love running these groups with you too. So
Thanks, Val.
Anybody else have anything to add, Erica or Diana? Yes, no. Diana's like, she's like juggling everything. She's amazing. I'm just glad you're here, girl.
Oh my gosh, my kids were like, we want a second dinner. I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm like, that's what cereal is for.
Dishes, the little girl I need was getting picked up. I'm like, yeah, this is all happening. Hi, Ashley. And then
Hi, baby. Oh, it's so funny. He always remembers me.
Ashley. Hi, Ashley.
Hi. Oh, that makes my heart so happy. I was totally freaking out and yelling at my kids before this call started, because I'm like, I had to do a Coach Breadcrumb post for that dang group, and I'm like, I don't know what to say. I'm like frantic, and it's just one of those days. Here's one of my kids. But anyways, I won't keep everybody else. I'm glad I did record this, thankfully. Carl, you've added so much value to us today. I feel like I'm a disaster. But I really took a good lesson from this. So thank you for sharing your heart with us and your story. And like I said, you've lost 110 pounds. Erica, how much have you lost now? Are you almost at 100?
Yeah, I'm at 90. So
Amazing.
That's great.
Oh, which I was going to ask you guys, because I had a one-on-one call with Erica not too long ago, and she was just sharing with me her story, and she's actually going to share her story at Super Saturday. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry. She is going to speak at her Super Saturday in Kansas City this week to share her story, which is amazing because she has a great transformation. So when I was on a Zoom call with her, I was just like listening to her story, her transformation story as she told it. And I was like, I want to like have everybody listen to her. So I actually thought about having a team call where we just picked a couple people who had really good results, not just business results, but transformation results. And would anybody be interested in just like people getting on and sharing their story? Like this is my story. Because for one, I think it's good for all of us to be reminded that what we do works, and it changes people's life physically and mentally and that kind of stuff. But also I think it's good practice for those who are wanting to share their story to talk about it in a safe environment. So I didn't know if anybody else would be interested in tuning in for that, because if we do, maybe I could put something together for next team call. But I just love hearing people's stories because it inspires me and it reminds me that what we're doing matters. And like to hear somebody loses 110 pounds or 90 pounds, that's 200 pounds between two people. That's amazing. Like that changes people's lives. Like most people, do you know how many people who are walking around like Val, you said you have family who needs to lose a lot of weight. Like I think that's amazing. And I don't know if it's something we share a story and then just have some transformation stories we could share on a YouTube video later. I don't know, but I just love the fact that we're changing our lives inside and out financially, and even not just financially, just personally. So I'm just really proud of you guys. That's just something I was brainstorming out loud. But
I was looking through Kristen's old team calls, and like I went back to like the first original one that I was ever on, and I was like, oh my God, I look so different. Like now, like my shoulders are getting chiseled and still got a round face going on, but
dude, I got a round face too. That's just how it is. Hey babe, what do you need?
I looked so different. I was just blown away.
You go tell her
I
it's
think when
your
you
turn.
see yourself every day, it's like hard to see the progress, and you go back and look and you're like, wow.
Well, I mean, you must love like time hop. Like if you see photos, like, or were you even posting photos before? Because I think sometimes people weren't posting photos because they weren't happy. And
Definitely not full body photos because I hated it. Yeah, I mean, where now I'll post a video of me working out. When I first started out, I was like, I'm not. No. Like when I say I hated myself, I hated myself. Like,
and there's power in that story because you know how many other people feel that way. It's finding that emotion behind what you're talking about, because I think I had this conversation, and I'll get off my soapbox in just a minute. I was talking to just another random Beachbody coach that I'm friends with. I don't even know how I'm friends with her. And I was just talking to her tonight as a friend, and she said she's really struggling with the whole weight loss side of it because she's like, I don't want to be that the only reason that I focus my business. She's like, I'm kind of hitting this brick wall because I don't just want to sell weight loss all the time. Because I think that sometimes can mislead people. I think people need to lose weight. But more than needing to lose weight, didn't you need to learn to love yourself? Isn't that what's more important than what the weight loss is? And so it's like, I don't know how to talk about this without that pressure of being that just next big weight loss thing. And I don't know if that's something we need to discuss too, but I was like, there's so much powerful story, because I think that if you told me how you were different right now, both you, Carl, and Erica, I don't think you would lead with, well, I'm 110 pounds lighter. I think you would probably lead with something emotional. I used to hate myself, and I don't anymore. The weight's gone, but isn't it so much more than how much you've lost?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's my thoughts on that too. Okay, I said go ahead.
I told my cousin today because she has bod, but she doesn't do Shakeology, so she bought a sample pack. But we were talking, and you know, like I've known her my whole life, and you know, she was like, "You have an amazing story. Like, you should be so proud that you got picked to talk in front of all these people." And I was like, you know, I think, you know, yes, I've lost 90 pounds, and that's huge. I was like, but I think my mental transformation is bigger, because I'm telling y'all, if y'all knew me, the old me, like I was just this depressed, like what Carl said, you know, I went through abuse, I went through, you know, addiction and all this stuff. So the person that I am now is completely different. That mental change that happens when you start working on yourself, and you know, you're forced to love yourself, and that's not easy. Still have my days. This week has been brutal. Like, I don't know why. So, you know.
Don't mess with that. Don't touch that. Is it not working? Okay, don't touch anything. Oh, she's like,
I wish you could get across the mental transformation just as much as, you know, weight loss, because people look at you and they're like, oh my God, you've lost so much weight. But it's the mental, the emotional, just everything else that comes with it. Like, I can't describe it enough. Like,
well, and that's where you have to talk about it. And that's why when I tell people, when you're posting a sweaty selfie, even as that, you can't just talk about that. You have to talk about the emotion behind what you're doing. The emotion of, I did this workout today and I didn't want to. Or I did this workout today because this is how it makes me feel on the inside. The outside is great, but I'm doing this for my inside, because my inside is what matters more than what I look like in the mirror. Because it really is. And that's hard to come to, because we're such a society that's focused on the outside appearance. And I think that's why I sometimes struggle with before and after photos, because like right now, if I showed you a photo of me right now, it wouldn't look like my after photo from like a year ago, but I feel like my after on the inside right now is way better. So it's like, how do you share that story? I don't know, because I feel like I'm a better person now. I might be a little bit heavier because of everything I've gone through recently, but I'm happier and I'm feel better. And isn't that a better transformation to have?
Yeah, absolutely.
So either way, well, let's go. I know it's late, especially for all y'all on the East Coast. Thank you for that. If I do want to put together a transformation call, I'm going to let you guys know and we'll talk about it. Sound good? Bye, friends. Thank you for hopping on tonight.
Bye.
Bye.